the painful truth about success. What if I told you that everything you want in life is on the other side of suffering? That the secret to success isn't talent, luck, or intelligence, but your ability to endure pain. Arguably the toughest man alive has lived this truth. Today we're diving deep into his brutal yet transformative philosophy on success. If you're looking for a sugar-coated message, this ain't it. But if you're ready to face the truth and unlock your true potential, keep watching. In 01. None. Have you ever wondered what separates the extraordinary from the average? Why do some people push past pain, failure, and obstacles while others quit at the first sign of difficulty? The answer lies in one powerful concept: becoming uncommon among the uncommon. David Goggins, a former Navy SEAL and one of the toughest men alive, says that true greatness isn't just about being better than the average person, it's about standing out even among the elite. But how do you do that? How do you push beyond limits that most people don't even attempt to reach? The power of the mind. It starts with your mindset. Most people operate within the boundaries of what they believe is possible. They set limits on themselves consciously or unconsciously. But what if I told you those limits aren't real? They're self-imposed. Think about Navy SEAL training, considered one of the most brutal selection processes in the world. The majority of recruits quit when they hit their perceived breaking point. Goggins? He failed twice, but instead of giving up, he came back a third time and passed. Not because he suddenly became stronger overnight, but because he rewired his mind. He refused to let failure define him. He refused to stop at good enough. Historical example. This isn't just about Navy SEALs. Think about Thomas Edison. He failed over 10,000 times before successfully inventing the light bulb. Imagine failing 100 times, 500 times, or even 1,000 times. Most people would have given up long before. But Edison understood something crucial: every failure was simply another step toward success. He didn't see failure as defeat, he saw it as part of the process. Now, let's bring this closer to home. Maybe you're trying to start a business, but you keep running into setbacks. Maybe you've been going to the gym, but you don't see results fast enough, so you feel like quitting. Or maybe you're trying to learn a new skill, and it's frustrating because it doesn't come easily. This is the exact moment where most people stop. But this is also the moment where uncommon people push through. So ask yourself, what would happen if you didn't quit? What if, instead of giving up, you doubled down and kept going? What if you leaned into the discomfort instead of running from it? That's where growth happens. So how do you become uncommon? Step 1. Identify your weaknesses. Be brutally honest with yourself. What is holding you back? Is it discipline? Fear? Self-doubt? Write it down. Acknowledge it. Step 2. Face those weaknesses daily. If you struggle with discipline, wake up earlier. If you're physically weak, train harder. If you're afraid of failure, intentionally put yourself in challenging situations to build resilience. Step 3. Stop seeking comfort. Growth never happens in comfort. Think about the last time you truly grew as a person. It was probably during a tough time, right? Growth happens in struggle. Closing message: call to action. The truth is, most people will never push themselves beyond what's easy. Most will stay in their comfort zones, never realizing their full potential. But you have a choice. You can decide right now to be different, to be relentless, to become uncommon. So what are you going to do today to step outside your comfort zone? What challenge will you embrace instead of avoid? Because in the end, the only thing standing between you and greatness is your willingness to keep going. Stay strong, stay relentless, and become uncommon. No 2. Ever wonder why some people seem unstoppable? No matter what life throws at them, they keep pushing, keep grinding, keep fighting. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's mindset. More specifically, it's about callousing the mind. Main concept. The former Navy SEAL and ultra-endurance athlete talks about this idea: callousing your mind. Now think about it like this: when you work with your hands, over time, they develop calluses. The more you expose them to friction, the tougher they get. Your mind works the same way. The more adversity you face and push through, the tougher you become. But here's the problem: most people run from discomfort. The moment they feel pain, they quit. And that's exactly why they stay stuck. But what if you flip the script? What if, instead of avoiding pain, you leaned into it? What if you started seeing pain as your best friend? Let's take 2 students studying for the same exam. One gets tired after an hour and calls it quits. The other? They push past exhaustion, study for 5 hours, fail their first test, then study even harder. Who do you think is going to succeed in the long run? The one who refused to quit, because success isn't given. It's earned. Through struggle, through setbacks, through relentless effort, deepening the message, but it's not just about studying. Look around you. How many people set goals at the start of the year, lose weight, start a business, read more books only to give up when it gets hard? Why? Because their minds aren't collused. They haven't trained themselves to embrace discomfort. And that's exactly what separates winners from everyone else. Winners don't just accept pain, they chase it. Actionable steps. So how do you toughen your mind? How do you develop that grit that makes you unstoppable? Here are 3 powerful ways to start. Number 1, do something uncomfortable every single day. Take a cold shower. Wake up early. Push yourself harder in the gym. Even something as small as holding a plank longer than you think you can. These moments add up. Number 2, when your mind tells you I'm done, go 40% further. Goggins calls this the 40% rule. Your mind gives up way before your body actually needs to. So when you think you've hit your limit, push beyond it. You'll be shocked at what you're truly capable of. Number 3, surround yourself with challenge. If your environment is too easy, you'll stay weak. Put yourself in situations that force you to grow. Sign up for that marathon. Take on that. At the end of the day, this is about becoming the kind of person who doesn't break when life gets hard. The kind of person who sees obstacles and thinks, good, another chance to get stronger. Your mind is a muscle. If you train it, it gets tougher. If you don't, it stays weak. So what's it going to be? Will you stay comfortable and stuck? Or will you start callousing your mind today? Right now, make a decision. Choose one uncomfortable thing and do it today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Start small, but start now. Because the sooner you start toughening your mind, the sooner you unlock a version of yourself you never thought possible. Let's get after it. No 3. Let's talk about something most people avoid: brutal honesty with yourself. You see, we lie to ourselves all the time. I'll start on Monday. It's not my fault. I'm too busy. Sound familiar? But here's the hard truth: excuses are just stories we tell ourselves to stay comfortable. One of the toughest men on the planet knew this all too well. He created a tool called the accountability mirror. Every morning he'd stand in front of the mirror, look himself in the eye, and tell the raw, unfiltered truth. No sugarcoating. If he was out of shape, he'd admit it. If he was lazy, he'd own it. If he wasn't putting in the work, he'd call himself out. Because change only happens when we stop lying to ourselves. Relatable example. I think about this: have you ever avoided stepping on a scale because you didn't want to see the number? Or put off checking your bank account because you knew it wasn't looking good? That's avoidance. And avoidance keeps us stuck. Imagine if instead you faced the truth head on and took action immediately. How much further would you be? Look at Abraham Lincoln. He failed in business. He lost multiple elections. He faced deep personal tragedies. Most people would have given up. But Lincoln never lied to himself. He didn't make excuses. He didn't blame others. He took ownership of his weaknesses and turned them into strengths. That's why he became one of the greatest leaders in history. Emotional connection. We all have things we're running from. Maybe it's our health. Maybe it's our work ethic. Maybe it's our relationships. The question is, are you willing to be brutally honest with yourself? Are you ready to stop making excuses and start taking responsibility? Here's something you can do right now. Go to your mirror. Write down your biggest weaknesses on sticky notes and put them on that mirror. Face them. Every single day. If you're out of shape, write it down. If you lack discipline, own it. If you keep procrastinating, admit it. No blaming others. No excuses. Just truth. Hand. Set clear, uncomfortable goals. If you're out of shape, commit to working out 5 days a week. If you're bad with money, make a budget today. If you're undisciplined, start building daily habits that force you to show up. And don't just set these goals, attack them relentlessly, because nothing changes if nothing changes. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep telling yourself the same old comfortable lies? Or are you going to face the truth and take control of your life? The mirror is waiting. What will you say to yourself today? No 4. Let's be real, nobody likes suffering. It's uncomfortable. It's painful. And it makes you question if you should even keep going. But here's the truth: suffering is the price of greatness. Period. Think about the people you admire: elite athletes, successful entrepreneurs, artists who create masterpieces. Every single one of them has endured suffering. They've sacrificed comfort, pushed through rejection, and battled self-doubt. They didn't get there because life was easy. They got there because they embraced the struggle. Look at David Goggins. This man didn't wake up one day and decide to run 200-mile races just for fun. He does it to test his limits, to suffer on his own terms, to become stronger. He was beaten down by life abuse, racism, obesity, failure. But instead of letting those things define him, he used them as fuel. He turned his suffering into power, and that's what made him unstoppable. Relatable story. Most people avoid suffering like the plague, but take a second and think who actually succeeds without it. Imagine an Olympic athlete. They don't wake up one morning and win a gold medal. No. It's years of relentless training, grueling workouts, and pushing their bodies past the limit. It's missing out on parties, waking up before sunrise, dealing with injuries, and still showing Think about self-made millionaires. We admire their wealth, their success, their lifestyle. But do we see the years they spent grinding? The sleepless nights? The failed businesses before they found the one that worked? Every great story has suffering at its core. The question is, when life gets hard, do you embrace it or do you run? Engaging scenarios, rhetorical questions. Let's bring this closer to home. Have you ever pushed yourself in the gym, past that burning sensation, and realized you could do more than you thought? That suffering working for you. Ever studied all night for an exam, felt completely drained, but then aced the test? That suffering paying off. Ever felt like quitting your job, your dream, your passion, but you didn't? And later you saw the results. That suffering transforming you. Pain is a part of progress. It's not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. The people who go far in life aren't the ones who avoid pain, they're the ones who use it. Oh, how do you make suffering work for you? Here's how. 1. Reframe the pain. Instead of saying, "This sucks," tell yourself, "This is making me stronger." Every challenge is shaping you into something greater. 2. Recognize the process. When things get hard, remind yourself this is part of the journey. No growth happens without resistance. 3. Push past the breaking point. Most people quit right when things get tough, but those who break through, they're the ones who grow. Listen, you have two choices in life. Let suffering break you or let it build you. Every struggle, every failure, every painful moment, it's all preparing you for something bigger. Or the next time you feel like giving up, ask yourself, is this where my story ends? Or is this just the part where I level up? You already know the answer. Now go out there and prove it. Conclusion, the challenge for you. Success isn't for the lucky. It's for the relentless. The ones who outwork, outlast, and outsuffer everyone else. David Goggins is living proof that the mind is the most powerful weapon you have. The only question is, will you use it? Final call to action. Here's my challenge for you. Starting today, embrace suffering. Stop making excuses. Polish your mind. Be uncommon. Because in the end, pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. If you're ready to change your life, hit that like button, subscribe for more no BS motivation, and comment below, "I will not quit." Let's get after it.